Warning: this show contains truth, sarcasm, and opinions that might offend the perpetually offended. If you think fact-checkers are neutral, your pronouns deserve a trophy, or that mostly peaceful includes a Molotov cocktail, this isn't your safe space. We don't do censorship. We don't do feelings. We do freedom, faith, and funny. Welcome to Data and Dissonance.
Washington's still closed. The Supreme Court's cracking open mail-in madness. And somehow, Donald J. Trump might have just pulled off the impossible. Peace in the Middle East. Yep, the same media that called him a dictator now has to thank him for ending a war they swore he'd start. Grab your coffee, folks. It's Thursday, October 16th, and the circus is still in session. All right, let's bring in the crew before the coffee kicks in harder than inflation. First up, Mr. MAGA Fire himself. Brian, the guy who thinks government shutdown just means more money saved for the wall fund. Then we've got Rachel, our voice of reason, or at least the one who reminds us that not every Democrat is a lizard person. Daniel's back, the man with a conspiracy board so big it needs its own ZIP code. If something happens, he's already got strings tied from the Vatican to Pfizer. And last but not least, Skylar, our resident progressive who thinks capitalism is evil but still loves Starbucks $9 lattes. All right, crew, let's dive in before Daniel starts connecting shutdowns to UFOs. So the government's been closed for over 2 weeks, but somehow my tax is still cleared and my internet still works. Funny how that happens. The Senate's blaming the House is blaming the Senate, and the rest of us are just blaming DC for existing. Rachel, you first. Who's really losing here? The politicians or the people?
Honestly, Artie, everyone's losing. The politicians lose credibility, not that they had much, and the people lose patience. The problem is, this isn't about policy anymore, it's about performance. Each side's auditioning for cable news clips instead of solving problems. They're not serving America, they're serving algorithms.
Well said. They're not governing, they're content creating. Brian, jump in. Are conservatives handling this shutdown smartly or just scoring points?
Look, Artie, I'll say it plain. I don't care if it's shut down till Christmas. The fewer bureaucrats clocking in, the better America gets. Every day the government's closed is a day closer to balancing the damn budget. But of course, the media acts like this is Armageddon because they can't stand the idea of life without the nanny state.
So your dream Christmas card is just a blank envelope stamped "Shutdown continues"? Got it. Daniel, what's your board telling you? Who's pulling the strings?
Oh, it's beautiful, Artie. The shutdown's not chaos, it's strategy. Every time Trump cuts off the swamp's oxygen, the deep state panics. You've got agencies realizing just how unnecessary they are. And that's when the shadow donors start shaking the purse. Because if government actually shrinks, their grip slips.
And here I thought I was the paranoid one. Skylar, balance this madness. Any sympathy for the folks furloughed?
Of course, but let's not forget, most of them will still get back pay. The shutdowns hurt small businesses and contractors more than politicians. It's performative theater, and both sides are cashing in on the outrage clicks.
Performative theater in DC? Skylar, that's redundant. All right, moving on before Rachel fact-checks Daniel's wall of yarn. So the Supreme Court is about to tackle whether mail-in ballots should count if they're postmarked by Election Day, not received. Translation: Democrats are fighting for the right to keep counting votes until they win, and conservatives are saying, maybe elections shouldn't be a Netflix binge. Rachel, you're the independent here. What's your take on this legal rodeo?
It's the perfect example of how both sides weaponize the same principle: fairness. Democrats claim this protects voter access. Republicans say it protects integrity. And the truth lies in the math. You can't have unlimited extensions and still call it an election. That's not democracy. That's procrastination with consequences.
Right. America's the only country where we can land a rover on Mars faster than we can count ballots in Nevada. Brian, fire away. What's this really about?
Control, Artie. Always control. The left knows chaos benefits them. More gray areas, more found votes, more distrust. Then they scream, see, democracy's under attack. while they're the ones leaving the back door open. You want election integrity? Show up, vote once, show ID. Simple. It's not voter suppression, it's common sense. The same people who want universal mail-in voting can't even handle DoorDash without screwing up the address.
Imagine Brian as an election official. Sorry, your ballot was cold when it got here, no refund. Daniel, conspiracy time. Does this Supreme Court case have deeper strings?
Oh, you know it does. Every time the courts take up an election case, lobbyists descend like locusts. The big donors on both sides see this as a pre-game for 2026. They don't care who votes, they care who counts. The system thrives on confusion, because confusion breeds control. And the more the public loses faith, the easier it is to centralize power in unelected bureaucracies.
So, the tinfoil version is that democracy's just a subscription service. Renew it every 2 years or lose access. Skylar, what say you? Are conservatives just paranoid, or is there a legit worry here?
Look, I get the concerns about trust, but voter suppression is real too. The goal should be to make voting both accessible and secure. We can walk and chew gum. Republicans make it sound like every late ballot's a scam, but some people genuinely can't vote in person. The bigger problem is states that still haven't modernized their systems. Half of them are running 2004 software on dial-up.
Fair point, Skylar. But if your voting system sounds like AOL, maybe you shouldn't be deciding who controls nukes. All right, folks. We've talked shutdowns, ballots, and bureaucrats. Time for a trip overseas where, believe it or not, peace is breaking out. And it's giving liberals an existential crisis. So here's a headline I never thought I'd say without choking on irony. Trump brokers peace in the Middle East. The ceasefire's holding. Israel and Palestine are actually talking. And now social justice warriors are realizing they might have to thank the man they called Hitler. Brian, I'll start with you. How's the left coping?
Not well, Artie. Twitter's melting faster than a snowflake on a Texas grill. The same people who said Trump would start World War III now have to admit he just ended one. You've got celebrities tweeting, well, peace is good, but not like that peace. It's hysterical. Trump pulled it off because he doesn't kiss the UN's ring. He negotiates like a New Yorker at a pawn shop. Fast, ruthless, and effective. The media can't handle it.
So CNN's headline tomorrow will be, World Peace, but at what cost? Rachel, from your side, how does this play politically?
It's fascinating, honestly. The world's used to performative peace. Photo ops, summits, empty words. Trump's approach was transactional. Deal or no deal. And ironically, that cut through decades of posturing. The left preaches diplomacy, but forgot that actual diplomacy means compromise. They can't process that a populist beat the establishment at their own game.
Exactly. Peace without permission from the elites. Daniel, I can already see your conspiracy board lighting up. What's the real story behind this?
Let's just say it's poetic. The same intelligence agencies that undermined him during his first term are now scrambling to take credit for his success. Half the experts calling him a warmonger were profiting off endless wars. Peace isn't profitable, Artie. That's the scandal no one wants to admit. When bombs stop dropping, bank accounts stop swelling.
Damn, that'll preach. Skylar, you've been the loudest anti-war voice on this panel. Any love for Trump on this one?
I'll give credit where it's due. Peace is peace. But let's be honest, the reason it's working is because both sides finally realized they can't survive without stability. Trump's bluntness forced them to face the reality diplomats danced around for decades. So yeah, I'll say it. If he pulled it off, good. Doesn't mean I'm buying a red hat, but credit where it's earned.
Fair enough, Skylar. We'll put that on your tombstone. Gave Trump credit once. Never recovered. All right, folks, before we get too kumbaya, Let's pay some bills and show off some merch that's more patriotic than half of Congress. This episode is fueled by caffeine and sarcasm. So grab your own. Check out our Data and Dissonance coffee line. High Lakes Light Roast, bright as your morning outrage. Rock Creek Medium, balanced, bold, and built different. Bitterroot Dark Roast, strong enough to wake Congress from their nap. All roasted in the USA. Get yours at dataanddissonance.printify.me. And while you're there, grab a hoodie, a hat, or our new bumper sticker that says, "Keep your feelings off my freedoms." Perfect gift for liberals who tailgate you. We've seen shutdowns, ballots, and a miracle in the Middle East. So the question tonight, is America waking up or just hitting snooze while Trump does the heavy lifting again? Let's do some final thoughts before Daniel starts printing peace treaties on his printer. All right, crew, we've covered everything from DC's budget tantrum to the Supreme Court's ballot ballet to Trump doing the diplomatic two-step no one thought possible. So let's wrap this circus with a little wisdom, or at least some halfway sober reflections. Brian, light the fuse first, brother.
Look, Artie, what this week shows is simple. Competence triggers chaos. The shutdown proves the swamp can't function without drama. The Supreme Court case proves the left's terrified of clean elections. And the peace deal proves Trump still lives rent-free in every liberal skull. The media's allergic to results. They wanted another failure to point at, but instead, they got the guy they mock saving lives overseas. I say let them choke on their hypocrisy while the rest of us enjoy cheaper gas and a safer world. MAGA means more than a hat. It's a reminder that America wins when it stops apologizing for existing.
Brian, you just gave the State of the Union for common sense. Rachel, your turn before Brian starts saluting the coffee mug again.
You know, Artie, I look at all this and realize how addicted America's become to outrage. The shutdown's theater, the election fights are reruns, and the same people screaming about world peace last week are now mad it came from the wrong messenger. We've built a culture that values being right more than getting it right. That's our poison. Trump didn't rewrite diplomacy. He just refused to play by the same tired script, and suddenly everyone's shocked it worked. Maybe the real moral tonight is that results don't need approval ratings. They just need backbone.
Well said, Rachel. Nothing scarier to the establishment than someone who doesn't need their applause. Daniel, you've been quiet. I assume that's because you're updating your deep state bingo card?
Always, my friend. But here's what I see. Patterns. The same people who profit from division keep manufacturing it. Whether it's a shutdown, a lawsuit, or a peace deal, they're invested in chaos. Because when people are scared, they're easier to control. That's why Trump's success overseas rattles the hive. Peace isn't profitable. Unity doesn't sell ad time. So every time the system shakes, remember, it's not random. The puppet strings just got tangled. Tonight proves that truth doesn't come from headlines. It comes from what the headlines don't want you to notice.
Deep stuff, Daniel. I'll admit, that one hit harder than a CNN fact check. Skylar, bring us home from the left lane.
Look, I'll always stand up for equality, compassion, and sustainability, but even I've got to admit the political left's having an identity crisis. They hate Trump so much, they can't even celebrate peace. That's not progressivism. That's pettiness. If we really care about justice, we've got to be big enough to clap when something good happens, no matter who causes it. Maybe the real test isn't left versus right anymore. It's whether we've got the humility to say, hey, that worked. Because if peace is now partisan, we've lost the plot.
Skylar, that might be the most level-headed thing said by anyone drinking oat milk. I'm proud of you. All right, folks, here's where I land. This week showed us that chaos isn't the disease. Apathy is. We let DC drama numb us to the point where shutdowns feel normal, corruption feels inevitable, and peace feels suspicious. But somewhere between the outrage addicts and the armchair experts, real people still wake up, work hard, and hope for something better. That's who this show's for. Whether you love or hate Trump, you can't ignore results. Whether you lean red or blue, you can't keep cheering for division. So keep your eyes open, your faith steady, and your humor dark. Because laughter is rebellion in a world this ridiculous. And remember, speak truth, stir thought. Tonight's episode was brought to you by the Caleb Rourke thriller series, The Covenant Protocol, The Prophet Directive, and coming this December, Black Echo Rising. Action, espionage, and truth that cuts deeper than headlines. Available now on Amazon. We'll see you tomorrow for Friday's MAGA Fire Friday, where logic burns brighter than a CNN meltdown. Good night, America.